This is London Electricity, and you are lucky enough to be listening to the Liverpool Connection Podcast.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Liverpool Connection Podcast. I am your host Daz, and I've been doing a new series lately called Football and Music 101, and it's bringing musicians on to tell their story of their musical influences, but also talk about football. And, it's usually Liverpool fans that I brought on. But today, I brought an Arsenal fan on. So please don't switch off. Please don't switch off. I guarantee it's going to be a really good pod. Anyways, he's been in the game for 30 plus years. And I still can't believe that, that you've been in so long. He started out with the Prodigy, with Maxim, Keith and Liam, 1990 to 2000, if I'm correct. And then, went on from there. But I'm so proud to bring on Leeroy Thornhill to the Liverpool Connection Podcast to have a good chat about music, life, and Arsenal. Welcome, mate.
Thanks for having me, Daz.
We've probably got this doesn't go out for a couple of weeks, so people will have a chance. When I start promoting it, to kind of go, "Ooh, Arsenal," But you know what? I think it's always good to talk, about football. Not just about Liverpool, but we've had so many classic matches against you lot anyway, so we'll get into that later. But I want to start with your musical influences. Growing up, what was the Leeroy teenager listening to back in the day?
God. All sorts, really. I've always been into music, but when I was 10, my older sisters were into punk. So I've always kind of pretty much, I know it sounds a bit stupid, but pretty much from the age of 10, I've kind of been into like underground music as well as chart music, commercial music and stuff. But yeah, from 10, I was listening to the Crass and the Slits and Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground and Bowie, and the Stones, all that sort of stuff. So I was kind of into that. And then I suppose around, I must have been about 11, 12 when the electro kind of kicked in. So there was this electronic sound and it was about dancing again and break dancing and everything. So, yeah, just always been into that kind of underground thing. And I suppose it was a little period where I was a little mod for a while. So I was into all the Northern Soul stuff and things like that as well. Yeah, break dancing mods, whatever was going on the street, I was trying to find it,
Yeah, it's kind of the same with me. I mean, my sister used to, she was bringing home the 45s as like Erasure, Depeche Mode and all that. So, and Yazoo. So I started listening to that and I was kind of the same. I started to getting into the mod stuff, because my dad actually was more on the Black Sabbath, Deep Purple side. But then my mum was more on the Northern Soul, so I would do the mod thing. So one year, I'd be dressed as a mod, and then the next year it'd be like, break dancer. So it went from year to year, just...
Yeah, the casuals.
Yeah, and then obviously, when the casuals came, I've pretty much stayed the casual. But for you, when did like electronic music start, taking over?
Man, again, like you were saying there, I think all of us were kind of getting prepped for it with the likes of Depeche Mode and Gary Newman, Nick Kershaw, Yazoo, Vince Clarke, Erasure, all that sort of stuff. We were getting really familiar for the electronic drums and sounds and stuff, and then I was in hip hop as well. So, and the electro thing obviously was drum machines and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was just a natural progression to go into the rave thing because I think the hip hop, I was into hip hop and still that sort of rare groove funk thing. And then, then the rave thing come along, the acid house. When that first come out, it was a bit like, there's not much rhythm in it, is there? You know what I mean? Like just the acid stuff. And all my mates were kind of like started going raving and having a bit of fun and stuff. And I was I was an electrician at the time, and I was working down in Bath, so I was like 3 hours away from all my mates, and they all started raving, and I'd come back every 3 weeks, and they'd be like, oh, you've got to come down there and do this and do that, and I'm like, I'm not really getting it. I'd go out, but I couldn't get the acid house thing. It was just too rhythmless for me. So I went out a couple of times with them, and then after that I went to a couple of, when it was a bit more ravey. Once it had gone, I suppose acid house was so underground. It was so early in the sort of 88 time, 87, 88. It was like so new, it didn't register in my brain yet. But yeah, it didn't take long before I was in there.
Yeah, I mean, back then, I mean, for me as well, for acid house, there was too many bleeps and blops. Like I couldn't, I definitely needed a rhythm, and it was just so like way out there for me. Obviously, I called Gerald Voodoo Ray. That hit me like a ton of bricks. And then kind of the same thing with me, my mates would take me to these clubs, and I'd just stand on the side just going, what is all this about?
We were doing the same dance.
Yeah, but the more I went, and then, I did go to Hacienda, and that kind of changed the way I thought about things. Yeah. I think as well, the early acid stuff was, it was just 4/4 again, drums as well. And the equipment was so sort of basic sounding, like, if you know what I mean. That was one of the reasons it was special, but it also held back the rhythm side of it. So it was just pure technology stuff, There weren't even like someone sampling a groove that's been played on a guitar, or so the whole human element kind of was non-existent in a lot of the pure acid stuff. So yeah, you're not always going to get rhythm naturally anyway, Mm-hmm. How did you were you already mates with Liam and Maxim and Keith?
No, the same thing. We met through raving, really, clubbing. I first met Keith. Well, I met Liam before I met him, but we never knew each other. I was DJing at a party with a mate, DJ Physics, a guy I used to go to school with. Me and him started DJing at school, and he got some decks, and we were doing a house party, and some guy came up to me. I was playing, Dom, the other guy, was off somewhere, and some guy came up and says, right, man, can I have a go on your decks? And I was like, I'll ask matey there is, sort of thing, and I thought, I don't know who he is, and it turned out later, I found out it was Liam. So like, Don, me mate, we let him jump on the decks and stuff, and he was like really good, scratching and all that, Yeah, mate, it's all right, yeah, let's leave him to it and have some beer. So I met Liam first about knowing, and then I met Keith just down the bar in the nightclub we went to. So yeah, we just sort of hit it off on the dance floor, and we're into partying out, heading out to London all the time and stuff like that. And then we sort of hooked up with Liam again. He was dating a girl who lived in Keith's house. After we formed the band, we met Maxim because we knew we needed an MC, and a friend of ours knew him. So we actually met Maxim on the first gig.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's like, we'll meet you down there, and sort of, we'd sent him music, obviously, but yeah, we'd never met him until before the first gig, so that was pretty mad.
Man, that's mental, because that could have really gone like, belly up. I'm glad it didn't. Like, it's just like when you see all four of you on stage, though, you can tell like there's brotherly love there. It just is. Like, when can you remember the first time you were all up there?
Oh man, yeah. But it's like yesterday. All of it's like yesterday, really. It's because must have had about 30 of our mates had all come up there. It was a tiny little club called the Four Aces, and the party was called Labyrinth. we must have had at least 30 of our mates come up there. So we had a good little support, but the club was rammed out and tiny little stage. So like that was where we decided, right, man, we can't all go out because we'd never rehearsed. We had no idea what we were going to do. Then kids were just going to go and rock. And Sharky, the girl Sharky was with us, and it was just like, man, the stage is too small. So it's like, right, Maxim, you're going to have to stay over that side, and we'll go on in pairs, on and off sort of thing, because you couldn't all fit out there. So that's how we sort of really started with the on and off thing as well. And it was so hot as well, so you couldn't stay out there for the whole time. But yeah, I remember that like yesterday, and we literally finished in about 20 minutes after the promoter walked into the changing room, and he was just like, yeah, man, I want you back in 2 weeks. That was awesome, you know. And that was it. That was it. We were Roski. It's funny. I remember the earlier gigs. You know, most of them, and I said most of them, a lot of them, just like that. But it was the last year that I was in the band. Them gigs, they're the ones I can't remember. You know, because wow, we were just everywhere. You know, we'd fly to like, I don't know, we'd be doing like the Lollapalooza tour in America. It'd be something like, let's say 9 shows in 15 days or something. So you do 3 shows, have a day off, 3 shows, 3 days off in the middle of it, back onto it. And it'd be like, oh, you've got 3 days off. So we can make a really good idea. What we've done is we've booked you a gig in Japan. So on your first day off, you fly to Japan. Second day, you play the gig. Third day, you come back, you know. And like you fly to Japan and there'd be a typhoon and you wouldn't do nothing. So you just go to Japan for nothing, come back and carry on with the tour. And then it'd be like, go to Korea. Oh, yeah, I even remember that. And it's like, yeah, it got cancelled. There's a hurricane again. Oh, was there? It's just like, man, we were just... Yeah, it was like a pinball machine, the last bit of it for me. That's one of the reasons I had to get out of it, really.
But whose idea was it to wear like the clown costumes?
Well, it weren't. They were. There was like, Keith literally as we're sitting there, look, and as you said that, look, as we're sitting there. Out of focus, is it? Yeah. Flinty and Sharky. As you said it, was sitting on my desk. But yeah, no, Keith, that was Keith. He was like, yeah, man, I'm going to get some outfits made. Because it didn't want to just look like we jumped out of the crowd straight away. Because everyone would have just sort of jumped up there. We needed it to look like it was, you know, a performance or something else. So I remember Keith was like, yeah, I'm going to get some outfits made, and yeah, Shark's going to go for it, and da-da-da-da. I'm not sure if Liam had one for the first gig or not, I'm not sure. But I was like, no, man, we can look like the fucking Stylistics if we all like have outfits. And then after the first gig, I was like, man, I need to get an outfit. So, yeah, a friend of ours is Jay, who I still in contact with. She used to make them for us. So, I mean, yeah, the earlier day stuff, they were more like ravey things to stand out. But even to this day, I know, you know, Maxim's still getting his stuff made for costumes and custom shoes and all that sort of stuff. But you've got to remember, for me, it's just a complete nightmare because I'm 6'6", so I can't just go and buy stuff. You know what I mean? I'm the t-shirt master. Everything else just don't fit me, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it must be crazy, like, you know, being that tall as well, like on those small stages.
Oh man, that was like space. It's just the flying. It does me nothing. It still does to this day. You know, everything is just like, and the seats are probably smaller now, the leg room, than it was then. You know, honestly, I can get the heel of my hand on the back, the front of my seat, and my fingers touch the back of the seat in front of, you know, if I'm in economy and stuff. It's just like, mate, I have to pay extra to be comfortable. The price of being tall.
Yeah, don't we all? I mean, for those 10 years, I mean, Prodigy came out with probably 3 of the most incredible albums, like, that I've heard. You know, Experience, obviously, you know, had Charlie in it, which was, you know, was charted really well, you know, for you, and kind of put you, I would say, put you on the map. But obviously you were still doing all these underground parties. But, you know, the second album is where I think it just exploded. I mean, did any of you expect, like, to be, you know, pushed in the limelight like that? Because, you know, the rave scene back then, you know, it's all hardcore, happy hardcore, or your jungle breaks, you know, and there wasn't really, like, superstar groups, you know. I mean, you had Underworld and Orbital, but they weren't what you lot were, you know, which was like in your face. So how did you take that? I mean, you know, Experience comes out, like, I mean, never came off my decks for a long, long time until the second album. And then the second album just...
I think it was, because I think Jewelry came out in 95, if I remember rightly, and in 94 we'd had enough for the rave scene anyway, you know. It all got segregated and stuff, and it wasn't what it was. But, you know, in terms of, like, Charlie, for example, we sold 25,000 copies when that went to number 3. Bryan Adams was number 1. He'd been there 15 weeks with Robin Hood or whatever, and he was selling 150,000 a week, you know. So on Friday night we played to 10,000, and on Saturday we played to 10,000, and they'd do that for a month. It's not hard to sell 25,000 records, you know, especially when everyone used to buy CDs and stuff then, you know. It weren't, and you always heard that track at every party, you heard it around your mate's house afterwards, you know. So it weren't big numbers or nothing to sell that amount to get to number 3. But at the end of the day, Liam's a genius musically, you know, and as a show, it was like a bit of theatre that everyone felt they could relate to it, because you had to, even as a DJ, as anything, if you're a performer, you have to have been in the other side on the dance floor to appreciate it, I think. You know, as a DJ, you can't become a DJ unless you've been on the dance floor, you know, in the club, and you know what the highs and lows of the audience and the feelings and the emotions, you know, because that's what you've got to deliver when you're up on the other side of it. So, you know, to this day, when I heard that music, I was the same as you hearing it when I was, get out, man, what's this? Do you know what I mean? And play it a bit longer, play it longer. I could need to smash something up, you know. It was like, it's rock and roll. It's rock and roll, Liam, and it always had been. Dynamically, it was just rock and roll. We moved out of the dance scene after the Experience album, because, like, for us, if you think of England, techno, you heard a bit of techno within the night, and then by 93, 94, techno was in one room, drum and bass or jungle, whatever you want to call it, in another one. House and garage, you had to go to Vauxhall in London and get your leather trousers on and your blouse and stuff, you know, and it all split up. And by then, we'd already sort of been started touring around the world, you know, so we'd go to Europe and it's like, man, everything's techno. Everything's techno. So, like, we'd get inspired to put a tune with a bit of techno vibe in there, so that we, you know, No Good Start the Dance, for example, was so much more European sounding than it was English sounding, because it had a 4/4 drum, and we didn't really do much 4/4 music, you know. And Liam would put breaks and rhythms on top of it all. But yeah, if you look at really the second album, you've got what's the other one? You've got Hyperspeed, Full Throttle. You know, there's a lot more it weren't really a rave sound. It was more of a European, around the rest of the world sound, because America didn't have a clue what rave music was. The only thing that they could relate to, because you had +8 with John Aquaviva and Richie Hawtin and Moby. We toured with them in 92 or 91, 92. So we were going around to these college places, had no idea at all what the rave scene was or anything. So you had to kind of have a bit of a variation of music that was going to work everywhere, So we were inspired by all sorts of things come 94 and 95 and playing festivals, and you could play anything at a rave. Everyone's off their nut. You could drop. I remember literally Aphex Twin dropping a needle on a bit of sandpaper.
Yeah,
when DJing, but not that that's going to stand too great. But yeah, so it was. Liam's unique, and even to this day, if you look at his production stuff, if I say to you, pick 5 Prodigy songs and hum me the bass line, you won't be able to do it. Because it wasn't his concern, sub-bass. You can't get energy with sub-bass. You can get pressure, you can get an air pressure, move the air, but you can't get someone to bite their teeth together. You bring your eyebrows down, but you can't. You need that mid-range bass, and with Liam, everything was about the kick drum. If you, like I said, after we speak, when you go away, you go and try and listen to Liam's bass lines, you won't find them. Out of space, you won't find it. He just has a presence. The warmth is always there, but it's like that bass 80 hertz in your chest every time, so you get the aggression, It's like electro music. You can't get hard. You can't make electro music hard, because of the 808 drum. And this is another reason that kind of killed the breakbeat thing recently, to be honest, over the last 5 years, 6 years, when 808 drum come out, and it's like, mate, yeah, it's loud and it sort of shakes your ass and stuff, but it don't sound hard, And it's just a frequency thing, but. He was always moved away from that. We were into dynamics. Like when that comes back, it comes back and it sounds twice as hard as it was, or twice as fast as it was, So, we kind of moved away from the rave scene quite quickly, really.
Yeah, it's like once, on record listening, you can get the vibe, but I think going to actually see you play is something completely different. I mean, I've seen you like loads and loads of times, but I actually keep coming back to the same video on YouTube, which is the Phoenix Festival one.
Mm-hmm.
It just grabs you by the balls. Like it's like all 4 of you are just on it, and the crowd. Like I think that's what differs, I think, sometimes from like the US and UK crowd. With the UK crowd, you get the pogo in, everybody just jumping up and down while, and there was no mobile phones back. Well, I mean, people had mobile phones, but not like, they do now, where they just spend 30, 40 quid and just stand there with the mobile phone, watch. Why don't they just stay home, watch somebody else videotape it on YouTube? Yeah, I mean, the Phoenix one just like grabs me whenever I'm like, feeling kind of a bit bleh. I'll put it on and it'll just change my entire mood for the day, just because that's rock and roll to me. It's rock and roll. It's punk. It's just in your face. And I think I'd never heard, like I said, other bands like that. I'm into my breaks as well, but that you don't really see a lot of breakbeat live acts. You just don't. It's more techno based.
Again, it was, you got to remember with the timing. The timing was another thing, because at the time you had Enjoy. Me and Keith used to follow Enjoy around before we were in the band. The band Enjoy, that was just like, man, they just rock. We used to follow them around, and then Shades of Rhythm another band, you know, I used to absolutely love. You know, Enjoy used to come on tour with us. Our manager was brother of one of the guys from Enjoy. You know, I used to hang out with Shades a lot and stuff like that. And, you know, they would smash it in the dance scene and everything. Shades were slightly more likely to cross over because the music was a bit more commercially sounding, pianos and vocals and that. But you know, it's really hard to sort of say, man, there should have been a few more of us, you know, really. Mm-hmm. Even to this day, you've got Stanton Warriors, Plump DJs and stuff, who none of them have ever quite crossed over the same, you know. You've got Norman Cook, you've got sort of like Basement Jacks, where they just kind of have one track, really. Mm-hmm. Where's your head at, you know? But really, yeah, Underworld, yeah, techno, that relate across the world. Same with Orbital again, you know. And they're wicked as well because it's hard music. But yeah, you do kind of feel like there should have been a couple more of us. Liam's actually, like I say, Liam's a genius. So I'm not saying I can't compare anyone to him, because that was a question when people used to say, "Oh, what would you call your music?" And if this is me answering, it's like, "Well, it's Prodigy." You tell me something else that sounds like it consistently, and that's what we are. And they can't, you know. Oh, well, that track sounded like you. Yeah, it sounded like us. You know what I mean? So it was just so unique. It was so unique. And the show and Keith, you know, all of us, what the part of the jigsaw that we put through it all, you know, we all knew the aggression. We all knew how to bring out the best in each other. Yeah, it was like a little gang thing, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like you're young and you just roll with it. All that mattered was getting up there and rocking it, you know, and letting people forget about the shit that's going on in their life for an hour and a half, you know.
Mm-hmm. I think the closest in the beginning to me was Dust Brothers, Chemical Brothers, you know, before they became the Chemical Brothers. Song to the Siren, to me, like, I was like, what is this? And I want more of it, you know. And they did like the Depth Charge remix. That was kind of, you know, the closest kind of thing. But like you said, you know, nobody touched the Prodigy. So for me, like, you know, you did 10 years. Was it really hard to just go, you know, walk away from it?
No, because it didn't need me anymore. You know, like I said, the last bit of it, well, I can't say. No, we were in control the whole way along. We weren't like a manufactured band. Every decision was down to us. Yeah, of course, we had people trying to sell us stuff. You know, oh, you should do that. It'd be brilliant. You know, that was the problem after Fat of the Land. You know, it got to the point where it'd be like, oh, right, you've got a gig in Spain Friday, then you've got to go to Germany Saturday. Oh, the gig's just coming for France. Really good money on the Sunday. It'd be really good. It's, you know, all right, and like that. And then you get to, you know, you just leave it in someone's hands, and you get to the airport on Germany on the Saturday, and then, oh, yeah, we've got to fly back to Stansted. There's no direct flights to France. So we've got to fly back to Stansted. Then we've had to hire 2 planes, one for the crew, one for you guys. It's like, what, so we're not going to make any money? Oh, well, nah, not really. Okay, so that amazing gig that you've sort of chucked in there, that you're all getting your commission from, you know, is no longer a great gig. It's just a fucking effort that we've got to make, you know what I mean? So it got like that. It wasn't too bad, but it was just like, you know, like I said, we still said yes to everything and kind of agreed to it, but it was little things like that. It was just like, mate, you know, enough's enough. You know, you can't just keep on putting this out there on the road over and over again. And I'd stretch my ligaments when we were on tour in America. And, you know, I remember that was in sort of 99 or something. I just remember sitting down with Liam saying, man, I don't know, you know, man, I can't have enough of this now. Just want a bit of sanity, a bit of a normal life. Because again, and after, once Keith done Firestarter, and breathe and everything, it was just kind of like, man, it's just evolved again. You know, having been there from day one, from when Sharky was like, you know, guys, I'd rather be partying than taking this all serious. You know, so good luck to you. It was the same sort of vibe. It was like, look, man, you know, I can't be doing Out of Space and start the dance and that 20 years later or 10 years later, you know, and I feel like the spare part now. It's like I'm the only link to the past. So I'm stuck with the old stuff and the whole thing's developing into a whole new thing. You know, you've got Keith on vocals, mate. Every track you're trying to write with the vocal lines and, you know, so it's kind of like, you don't need me anymore. You don't need a dancer. You know, it's become a vocal thing. It's become evolved into something else. You know, so it was like, yeah, as soon as we stopped touring in '99, it was like, man, you know, I don't want to get back to it again. I think now we all sat down and so I think now's the time for me to move on, really, before we try and get back on stage or try and write anything. Don't have to think about anything apart from what it's going to be, you know. So yeah, it was a natural progression at the right time, you know.
So what was your progression? Did you just, you know, want to take like a year off and then, you know, kind of sit down with yourself and say, you know, do I still want to do music? Do I want to do something different?
Well, I started DJ. I was a DJ when I was at school, so I was always been into the music thing, and I used to DJ when we were on tour and around the world and stuff like that. You know, I'd still sort of slip in DJ gigs when I could. So I loved it. I knew I was always going to sort of try and get involved in music, but yeah, I couldn't. Man, I feel like literally, if someone said to me, you know, getting a hang of music, it was probably only the last 8 years or 9 years I've really been happy with anything I ever produced. Anything before that was kind of just lessons, learning, you know. And I couldn't write dance music. I couldn't write dance music. I didn't like it. I liked rock and roll and songs and lyrics. I like things like that. So I'd kind of done that indie fly crank thing when I left, writing songs and picking up a guitar and I can't play and stuff like that, just being a bit punky. So yeah, I kind of was into that. But again, it was like, for me, Daz, I couldn't play football, dude. And that was all I ever wanted to do, yeah? Top goal scorer in all the leagues when I was under 9s, 10s, 11s, 12s, 13s, all that stuff, you know what I mean? And yeah, when the band come along, that's like, you can't play football in case something happens to you, break your leg or something, you know? So like, I suppose by about 96, you know, I kind of had enough of that. And we sponsored the local pub team. And so I'd go and goal. Because then I thought, well, there's less chance of getting hurt. But I'm like, well, I'd play anywhere, but I was just sort of striker, really. But I am a bit of a cat. It's just so yeah, playing goal for the pub team, and then I started at 97. It was like I got asked to start playing for the Arsenal ex-professional celebrity team and Soccer 6 and all that stuff. So I'd start doing that, you know. And literally the week after I left the band, I broke my leg playing for Arsenal. So yeah, I'd always been in goal all the time. And then like, yeah, man, I need to play again. So yeah, man, it's the best thing ever, you know. It's been amazing. But you know, even now when I sit here and I think of the weddings I miss and the funerals I miss and the things I missed with my family and stuff, because you know, you were on the road and that was it. You just committed to it. That was it. That was all that mattered, you know. But yeah, that thing just being normal, you know. I mean, literally, I suppose 3 weeks ago, I played in a golf event for a charity thing for a friend who died quite a while ago, but you know, for about 8 years, every day, every year, oh man, you can make the golf this year. Man, I can't, you know what I mean? So yeah, don't get me wrong, it's the best thing ever. I've seen so many places, done so many things, but yeah, it was still a sacrifice as well, you know, for some normality. And I miss normality. I miss being at home. I mean, we would never go on tour for more than 3 weeks because we didn't want to get on each other's nerves. We wanted home food. We wanted to go to the pub and see your mates. Just wanted to be normal, you know. So America, yeah, you come here and do a 3-4 month tour of all the stadiums. We're like, no, we're coming for 3 weeks and then we'll go home for a month and you can fly us back again for 3 weeks. And then we go and eat. But you won't make any money. We don't care. We don't go nowhere for more than 3 weeks. That's it. You know, we need normality. So,
that's a good way to look at it because, I mean, you know, these days, especially DJs are put on this pedestal, you know, and every aspiring DJ kind of looks up to them and like, oh my God, they get to these private jets and all this. But, you know, even like, I'm not really into his music, but James Hype, you know, he does like a YouTube vlog and he was saying he's playing all, you know, he doesn't know where he's at. Like his road manager's got to, you know, pretty much say the name of the city or the country he's in. And he's like, you know, everybody thinks we make this crazy amount of money. And he's like, well, we have to play for flights, hotels. You know, he has a sound guy. He has lighting tech. You know, he's like, it's not this like glamorous life that these people think it is.
We have 13 people in our crew, you know, and they're all on wages. And if you're doing 21 gigs in 24 days, you've got 13 people to pay, you've got all their flights to get, you've got all their food to get. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, we didn't start off with 13 people. It kind of builds up as you go along and that with the money as well, you know, but yeah, man, it's proper hard work sometimes. I think we done 1 year where we had, in 3 months, we stayed in 74 hotels and done the equivalent of flying the circumference of the world 3 times. You know, you don't know your arse from your elbow. You wake up and it's just like, where the hell am I on this tour bus? Well, you get on a tour bus on America, for example, come after the gig, right, we've got a 4-hour drive, you know, and then you wake up in a bed. Right, we're here, guys, we're at the hotel. Someone just give you a key as you get off in your bag and you stumble into this room and then you wake up, what the fuck am I? You know, like, don't know which room anyone else is in. Oh, mate, just get stuff like, again, America from me. That's not my favourite place, but like, you know, we'd get stuff, man, you want to buy some crack? Outside the Holiday Inn and that, you know, and then you go into this is when we're starting out. We weren't staying in no big, nice hotels or nothing, you know. If you like, literally, you go to a hotel, shut the door in Fresno, and there's like 7 locks on the back of the door. You know, the sign, do not answer the door to anyone unless you're 100% sure you know who they are. Yeah, where can we get some food in San Fran and the hotel? Where can we get some food? Well, the hotel. If you go that way, 1 or 2 blocks, there's a pizza place. Don't go more than a block that way. That's where all the crackheads and the drug addicts are, and they'll rob you. Yeah. Have you got room service? Yeah. Like guns going off, and there's all us on the floor in the green room, and everyone else is just standing there. So, was that fucking guns? It's in New York. It's like, yeah, don't worry, it's a couple of blocks away.
It's a different life, isn't it? Like, and it is weird. Most outside of Holiday Inns, yeah, there is like crack dens and like, you know, just it's seedy places in the town. But so obviously, you know, not doing the Prodigy thing, and now you can, you know, concentrate on your DJing thing, you know, because it's just you, and you know, you're your own boss now, which has got to be really good. You know, you pick the gigs, and I noticed, you know, every season is festival season, obviously in the summer with, you know, Best of All and all the good stuff. What's one of your favourite festivals to play without? You know, I know you probably love playing most festivals just because everyone's there to have a good time. But what one really stands out for you?
Glasgow, everyone. I've been happy to Glasgow this year. But I think it's the ones where you can get to see see stuff, you know, go and see the other bands that you like, other DJ mates, because the whole thing is a family scene, really. You know, there's always someone I know at the festivals that you're going to get a buzz off. You always buzz more when you know someone when they're playing, if it's a Foo Fighters, and, you know, Dave and all, you know, when you know people, you know their character and that you see them playing, and it's always a buzz. Same with the DJing thing, you know. But, yeah, I mean, for me, what am I saying? DJing, anyone can DJ, I think, to an extent. I mean, yeah, of course there is technique involved, but it ain't a big deal in my eyes. You know, when you're up there and you've got to play your own music and perform, you're selling your soul. There ain't nowhere to hide. You know, you've got to have rights. You're gonna like. I'm gonna make you like me. You know, when you DJ, say, "Oh, I don't like that. I'll play Prodigy." Oh, you know, that'll work. You know, it ain't no big deal, really. And I kind of, I mean, I write a lot of my own music now, a lot. I'll make a lot of bootlegs where I'll make tracks with Oasis, with Foo Fighters, Chili Peppers, Yazoo, Bjork. And I'll make these edits with Beatles. So no, I won't give them to anyone. So I'm the only person in the world who's got them. So then when I play, I'm always doing something different that no one else does. Yeah, if you follow me around, you say, "Oh God, he's played that Roxanne track nearly every time." You know what I mean? But it's the same as seeing a band playing their own tracks. Do you understand what I mean? It's like that's one of the reasons that I can't say I stand out, but it's one of the reasons that I'm different is because I've got them tracks and other people haven't. You know, so that's the effort I like to make to be different. I like to play everything, drum and bass, old school, techno, Lil Louis, French Kiss, all that sort of stuff. You know, I love educating people, but taking them up and down. You know, and I've never planned a set in my life. I stand there 10 minutes before shitting myself thinking, "Oh, man, what's the first track I'm going to play? What should I start with?" You know, and I try and get there an hour before to check out what the other person plays and get a bit of an atmosphere and stuff like that. I can't just rock up. But, yeah, I love that. The audience pick the tracks for me, you know. It's like, well, yeah, they like it hard. I can keep going there. Yeah, I can see they need to. I need to drop their energy a bit and educate them with something a bit different, you know. Or I can see they're a bit more techno crowd, so I'll stick with some tracks that have got a bit more chunky, techie sounding rather than sort of like, let's say, raggery sounding. So it's knowing the audience. Get some of these DJs, fucking idiots. They're like, "How's your gig?" "Oh, crowd didn't get my music." It's like, dude, you got a memory stick with 3,000 songs on. What do you mean they didn't get the music? It's like, you didn't get the crowd. Jesus Christ. If they need Michael Jackson, you play Michael Jackson. Your job is there to entertain people, to give them a good time, not try and, if you don't want to change what you do for the people, stay at home. Yeah. It's not like you've got a box of records with 50 tracks in anymore. You know what I mean? Jesus. And then all these ones with masks and jumping up on the decks and jumping around and cakes and that in the audience. And it's like, dude, you're just a DJ playing other people's music, yeah?
I could not agree more with you, mate. I'm exactly the same. I just watch. It's like a charade. I'm like, what's with the mask? What's with the cake throwing? I know if I'm paying, again, 30, 40 quid to go watch somebody play, I sure as hell are not going to get hit in the face with a cake, because I'm going to get on that stage and I'm going to smack the living shit out of you. Yeah, I just don't get it. I mean, there's people in the audience going, "Hit me with a cake." I don't get it. It's, and especially like in America, they've labeled EDM. I do not like that label. It's all dance music, isn't it? Yeah. Obviously it's electronic music, but it's dance music. The EDM just separates it, and to me it's more pop based. dance.
When we arrived there and we signed to Madonna's label, Maverick and all that, they were like, we're going to give Electronica 9 months. And we're like, what? In the room, we're like, Electronica, that's what we're going to call it. We're going to brand it as Electronica. We're going to give it 9 months. If it doesn't work, we'll drop it off the label. Yeah, and they're going, what do you think of my snare drum? Fuck your snare drum, dude. Nobody's dancing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Who cares about your snare drum? Look at the people. Nobody's dancing. He's writing dance music and you're more worried about how the sounds are. You know, we were raw punk, 16-track sequencer. You know what I mean? With a little screen with a dot down across, sampling and making new recipes. You know what I mean? Not all this. And ever treat with snare drum? It's like, listen, dude, your snare drum sounds how it sounded in your studio. It might have sounded amazing. That's what you wanted, yeah? But there's not another system in the world the same as your bedroom. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Half of it's mono, half of it's got too much bass on it. Get a life, you know what I mean? And then people are playing it on an iPhone. You know, it's like, yeah, man, your production, you put a click on your bass drum. A click bass drum. You know, this is about 8 years ago when this shit started. Yeah, if you don't have a on your bass drum, nobody can hear it on their iPhone. So, really? You think I really care about writing music for people to listen to on an iPhone out the speaker? That I have to now take that into my brain and like not be thinking, oh, if I can get 30 hertz, I can get people to shit themselves. It's more like, yeah, go on, if I can put a little click on top of my bass drum so people know there's a bass drum there. You know what I mean? It's like, what has it come to?
It's changed so much. Like, you know, there's good and bad in it. You know, I mean, it opens a door for more and more people to like hear, you know, dance music. But then it also opens the door for a lot more clowns, like who see a dollar bill.
But I still don't think it's, you know, if I'd have said to you, you know, like in the 90s, for example, oh, man, look, check out this white label I've got from Nicky Finn or whatever. You know, you could guarantee if it was like if it was a good track, within a month, the whole country knew it on the rave scene. You know what I mean? Man, I'll write a track now and I'm connected to the world. You'd be lucky if 300-400 people find it, hear it. You know what I mean? It's just pathetic. You know, it's like, you know, I'm not. You know, I don't like socials. I need to put more effort into it if you really want to achieve it. But this is just the whole thing. It's like, you know, it's like, man, I've got to get ripped off on Spotify. I won't put my music on Spotify. If it's on a record label, I can't do nothing about it, and that's all cool. You know, that's it. But personally, if I release music, I won't put it on there. I'm like, I'm not going to insult myself by what you pay. I'm not going to make all the header and the page really for you to take money from me and rip me off, you know, because you have to do the design and the layout and all that stuff. You're only doing that for them. Mm-hmm. You know, all right, you might get a few visitors and a few people come, but they pay £10 a month. They ain't buying the stuff. They just press play. They don't give a toss. You know, that's how it is for them. So, you know, and then you've got Spotify allegedly sponsoring weapons companies. Well, what do I want to give them money for? You know what I mean? Invested in weapons. No, thank you. iTunes, all of them. You know, and then now it's like, you know, if you put it on Instagram or you've got TikTok, like, dude, anything my daughter's into, I ain't into. Yeah? You know what I mean? It's like bad enough Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you know, SoundCloud, YouTube. You know, and it's like all I'm doing is putting all the effort in to make them people money. Because they don't pay me fairly for that, you know. It's like, if you want to give me a job, pay me, man, you know what I mean? But I can't do it. I've got Bandcamp now, you know, and even if I sell like 100 quid's worth of stuff, I can take that money within 2 days and invest it in myself. Mm-hmm. So you know what I mean? In a new plug-in or, well, you don't see nothing from music, nothing. You know, you just get screwed over. And like this week, 1,000 of your followers on Facebook want to connect with you on Theta or whatever, the new thing that Facebook are doing to try and compete with Twitter. You know, it's like, dude, really? I've got 25,000 followers, the most on any one of my platforms. Yeah, I come from a band that's got 3 million followers. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, I'll post a new clip from a track. 4,000 likes. But I've got 400 people following me on Bandcamp. You know, it's like, I've got to get another app. Well, I'm not going to put my details in, log in, put my credit card in just to pay £1.50 for your track. You know, I'll have another app on my phone and something else that I have to go to. Oh, man, can you see my posts on Instagram? No, I don't do Instagram, I don't do Facebook. Do you see my posts on Facebook? No, I ain't got Facebook, I only do Twitter. It's just like flogging a dead horse. You know, it's like I'm trying to... You know, I'm trying to build my website and everything. You know, I've got people who subscribe to me on Bandcamp and all that. But again, all these companies take money. You know, so why can't you just subscribe to me on my website? Yeah, and if someone needs to come up with a software where it's just like, right, this is, I get up, open my website up, my Facebook page, my Instagram, my Twitter, they're all in the top of my web page. And I can see which one has got any activity on it, and if I want to use it, look at it, I'm there. Get different bloody pages and all that. It just does nothing. With the technology, it's so simple to make this stuff happen nowadays, you know. But they won't, because they need all that, the algorithms, all the traffic and everything, you know. So, yeah, I'm a bit old school. I love technology. I'm playing with AI. I love everything, but I don't like the models of greed. That's the way the world is now. Greed, 5 minutes of fame. You know, some of the things these people do online to get attention is wrong. And that's the society they want bred. I'm you know, I sound like an old man now, but the state of things at the moment, you know, when I went to the golf club last week and I tried to identify as a woman for 18 holes, so I'd get off the closer tee, but no one was having none of it. You know what I mean?
Well, let's get to your other love, which is football and Arsenal. So, who was your, you know, favorite player growing up?
I'm not going to lie. I was, until I reached the age of 10 or 11. I couldn't tell you who I supported, really. My family are from Islington. My dad, my mum and dad split up, but my dad and my nan lived around the corner from Highbury. So my dad was always on at me about Arsenal. My stepdad supported Tottenham. He bought me a Tottenham Spurs lampshade. All my mates were West Ham, so I had a West Ham shirt. Then Bobby Robson had Paul Mariner and John Walker and all that. The 77, I think, around that time, Ipswich, I had an Ipswich shirt because they were the closest to us as West Ham were. So, yeah, I was pretty mixed up as a kid. And until I went to see Arsenal play Watford when I was about 11. When I was like, man, yeah, I'm choosing Arsenal. Some families, my nan's around the corner, my dad's around the corner. This is where my family come from. So I'm going to run with Arsenal. They're black players as well. You know, I remember seeing John Barnes there that day, Barnesy at Watford. I used to walk across and stuff, you know, and yeah, it was just, that's it. I'm gonna choose Arsenal now without any influence from anyone else. You know what I mean? Or who's winning, or who's, you know, Paul Mariner. I remember going to see Ipswich and watching Johan Cruyff, knee skins from Barcelona. You know, so I can't regret having 6 months of Ipswich or one season. But no, Arsenal, it's righty, you got to say. There's different genres. Obviously, you had Stapleton and David O'Leary and them teams and Charlie George and stuff, you know, Alan Sunderland, Willie Young, that sort of period and everything. But, righty, man. Righty. It's just like... yeah. I see a good thing from Rio the other day. He's just talking about writing. And he said he didn't support Arsenal. You liked writing. You hated him, or you was just, everyone loved Wrighty, you know, because he was just, you could relate to him, couldn't you? He was real, you know what I mean? And Yeah, so, and I know him. It's funny because I know so many of them now, but like, I know him, and I think in the scheme of things, if you actually looked at his finishing and everything, he was up there, man. He was proper up there. And then, of course, you've got the Wenger era, like Thierry's ex-wife is godmother to my daughter. So, like, when she was pregnant with their kid, he used to babysit for me, so he could get a bit of practice. But, man, he was, well, he's one of the best players ever. You go around his house and there's just footballs everywhere. Every 2 metres, there's footballs on the floor. And I should go down the Xbox. Yeah. So I go walking towards the room and he just hit a ball, flick it up in the air, do about 28 spins and stop it dead and carry on walking. And I'm just like, and then the next one, and stuff like that. And then I'll be like, I go and watch him and I'll get up in his box and everything. And after the game, we'd go back to his or whatever. And he'd be like, I'm like, man, you went over, you took that free kick on the right side of the pitch with your left foot, didn't you? Because you saw that. I was like, yeah. I couldn't believe you were lining up. Because, yeah, man, I'm staying behind in training, working on it. And like, when I say arrogance, it's not a big head, but the self-belief he had in himself. I went to his wedding, man, he wouldn't even have a glass of champagne. He said, man, I can drink when I finish playing football if I want to. He wouldn't put an anodine, an aspirin, a parrot. He wouldn't touch a thing. All he had was a homeopathic medicine, and like the dedication. And I mean, and to be honest, like, for the band, right, people think what they want, but we never done drugs or nothing. We were just like, that was the strive to commit to be the best we could be, because that was the best drug you could ever get, that performing in front of people, so I could relate to him, like, man, you should get the balloons. Oh, maybe I'll get it next year. I'll try, and the self-belief he had was inspiring, really. I'd say to him, the worst was because we were sort of like, his teammates and everything, and I'm like, yeah, man, so what's Waterwood like then? Because he just seems to panic. I was like, when he gets through, he skies on me, kept missing and that. It's like, dude, he said, you see him in training, he don't miss. He said, you wouldn't believe it. He says, because he plays him out on the wing. I said, there was one game, I said, he lost the ball, put his hands on his knees. And he was like, that was Newcastle's second half last season. He knew the exact moment that he'd done it. He won't have it. He said, yeah, I won't have none of that afterwards, I was, and I'm thinking, I don't want to offend you. Yeah, I said, well, like, at least Pires, it took him sort of 6 months, but he can't tackle, but he gets goal side. He chases back all the time. He's like, yeah, you still feel a bit like you're dissing his mates a bit, but he's talking about football, so he's kind of honest about it, And Bergkamp, it's hard. It's very hard because, Bergkamp was a magician, Tony Adams, and that back four, what Wenger done, he got another 3 or 4 years out of all of them, and it's hard to say they all got better and better. Adams was a donkey, they called him, and then he's running out with the ball at his feet against Everton, all up the pitch and half volley into the net, to win the title and stuff. Man, what Wenger done for English football, I think everybody just went, man, hands up. That team was just the best you've seen in England, to be fair. It was a Hansen, Souness, Dalglish era of the Paisley playing football, keeping the ball on the floor. The defence, if you look at having a sweeper, Hansen and Lawrenson, the way I was watching a couple of clips the other day of Hansen coming out with the ball, playing a little ball over the top and running all the way through. And, I think he might have missed at the end, but that Liverpool team, in terms of the way it played football, was years ahead of everyone else, and I think Wenger was the same. I'd done a football thing at Docklands for the Arsenal, and I'm buzzing. So I've got the Premiership kit with my name on the back, with the proper kit. It's got pants in the shorts and everything. And I've done this, and I remember it was there with Parlour, Winterburn, Righty, and they're going, yeah, man, remember when Wenger come, and the day he turned up for training, we were all at Alexander Palace, running up and down the hill, all trying to put an effort in, to impress him, trying a lot harder than we normally would and all that. He said he stood at the bottom of the hill, watched us run up and down the hill 3 times. We all come down sweating and panting, standing there, thinking, yeah, he must be impressing it. And he's like, why are you running up and down hills? Football pitches are flat. Just went, yeah, right. Why are you running up and down hills? Football pitches are flat.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, makes you really think. Why are you doing that?
For the simplest of things, and then changing their diet and that, and I'm sure all of them that back four would tell you that, man, if you got hold of them 5 years earlier in their careers and stuff, because you got to admit, Adams become a better and better player until he retired, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, longevity as well, I mean, all those players, like in the early, 80s and 90s, were still heavily drinking and smoking, partying, as soon as the game's done, that's it. But then, Wenger just came along and he changed the whole landscape of how to, be a professional footballer, take care of yourself mentally, physically, and he set the blueprint. That's why I love Klopp so much as well. I think
I think after Wenger, you're talking. I wouldn't. I can't really put Mourinho up there because I think not for his achievements, but for his style of football, I can't put him in the same sort of bracket as It's about winning, and he done that fair and square. But it weren't until we got to that Barcelona Guardiola thing again. Yeah, Cruyff had his moments, but that's long before I was, recognising it really, age-wise. But that Barcelona team was the best team, league team ever. That when that tic-tac stuff came out. And with me, when I play football, I can only play 100%. And I played about 2 months ago, mate. I was blowing out my arse after 5 minutes, and it's just like I can only play 100%. But even when I was training, I didn't tackle people, but I was pressing them in their face so quick that they have to make a mistake or do something with it. Yeah, they're like, you need to calm down a bit. I'm like, dude, I ain't tackled you, have you? No. You just kicked the ball off when you saw me running at you. Give it away. I ain't even touched. I really appreciated that. And there were small people, and it was just incredible. It was incredible, And now, and then what Klopp done at Dortmund without the ball changed it again. And now I think they had to suddenly bring that to the best league in the world, which was England, because the running, there's nothing, no team, Man United, Liverpool, we all proved it. We played till 95 minutes. That Liverpool, Bayern Munich, not Bayern Munich, Milan. I was in Italy all the time there, and my mate supports Milan, the motorway used to go with all the time. He's messaging me at half time because it's like, what's going on? I said, of course I support Liverpool. It's the English teams, man. I'm supporting Liverpool. He's messaging me at half time. I said to him, dude, you had like Maldini and all that. They're going, tonight I'm going to go to Luigi's, I'm going to have some champagne and some pasta and some Parmigiano at half time. They're all thinking like that. know what I mean? So then suddenly Steven Gerrard appeared. I said he didn't answer his phone. He wouldn't answer a message from me for at least 3 days. He was still crying.
But I mean, you see that Milan team on paper, and you're like, this is one of the best teams in the world, if not ever, at that point in time. No chance should have Liverpool come close to I mean, I when I watched that, when Stevie scored the header, I was like, all right, 3-1, we've saved face. We've got a goal, and I'm good with that. When that second one went in, I'm like, we're winning this. It was just a turnaround. I mean, again, a tactical decision by Benitez to bring on Haman and take off Stevie Finnan. That really helped the midfield, because we were just getting overrun. But no way should we have beaten that Milan team. Not a chance.
Man, I have to say, I think I can't talk. If you did going back 5 years, let's say 5 years at least, I think Steven Gerrard's the best English player that we've ever produced as an all-round player. The Lampard Gerrard debate, I don't think it can even go on. Don't get me wrong, I know Frank, and don't get me wrong, he's an amazing player. But Gerrard, just everything, every single thing, and Scholesy, when I talked to Vieira, he's like, man, Paul Scholes is the hardest player I played against. He said, you go out and he's just gone. He said, he's gone. You stand next to him and he's gone. But again, he's one of those people that unless you had a camera on him for the whole game, you wouldn't really appreciate how good he is. I think there's still a lot of people like that, that it's what they do without the ball. Making space is when you look at a football pitch and you see a goal kick and that, and they're all in that group, it's really, really hard to make space, really. That. It's like, so, but for me, Gerrard was the most complete English player we had. I wouldn't say now, and now it's wow. It's just wow. It's Spain had their time off that Barcelona time, Euros, World Cup. France have had it. It's England's time now, and if we don't, we won't. You can't, it's not automatic. But there's never been an England team where you could put 3 players in every single position and struggle to choose which one to start. I mean, Saka. Yeah, I'm Arsenal, but
brilliant.
There ain't a person who ain't going to put their hand up and go, my God, that kid. If we can get him in Foden, Bellingham, Grealish, the defenders, Trent. I mean, thank God they've put Trent up forward a bit. He'll wreck his career if they don't move him away from that right back position, because he ain't a natural defender. And it's like having Beckham playing him at left back when he's the best crosser in the ball in the world. If you put Alexander-Arnold into midfield that 30, 40 yards forward, he's deadly. It's deadly from a right back. Mm-hmm. But it's not, from a right back, he either had to cross it or, a bit of a long ball. But from in that midfield, he'd be able to slot things through. It's be like De Bruyne, do you know what I mean? Or Bergkamp, that. Just precision. So, Rhys James, pretty hard. And you've got Kyle Walker. That's just Trippier. That's just right back,
Mm-hmm.
Rashford.
It's generational now, isn't it? It's just, I mean, I love Saka. I just think I actually think it did him a world of good to miss that penalty for England in the Euros. I really do. I mean, I felt for him, at the time. But, I think he's matured more. He's taken a lot more responsibility on. I mean, watching that Arsenal team last season was actually, for me, like watching Liverpool 2-3 seasons ago. You were so on it. I mean, everybody knew their jobs and they were doing it. And I mean, it must have been a joy for you as an Arsenal fan to watch that. That, you know,
exactly like you say. I mean, when you got Van Dijk and that, I mean, you see someone. It was like getting in a ring with Tyson. They get the ball and they know it's Van Dijk. And no, I can't get past him. He's going to do me. He had the mentality already that like Tyson, you've lost before you even, you know. And like you say, that system, the work rate, I think, again, unless you had a camera on Mano, you wouldn't quite realise how amazing he was, you know, and Firmino, to be fair, because, you know, it's easy for the other three or the others who bang more in towards the later side of it. But Firmino's positional play, and, you know, he was a bit of a Berbatov, sharing them that intelligent to set other people into the game, you know. That team, yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome to watch Robertson and Trent, you know, going forward as well. So you must have thought when that season, man, my team are back. And that's all I can say. It's like, you know, my team's back. That's how I look at it. I think, of course, you're going to make the Man City comparisons because Arteta was there. But this football now is a whole different thing. And, you know, bless him, this thing going on with Pepe at the moment at Arsenal, you know. You can't disrespect him, but he grew up in the Ivory Coast. You know, and like when you watch that program with Arsenal on Netflix and that, and Arteta walks into the room and there's a tactical blackboard. He's going, so you three moved in, you know, transitioned to here, and you see poor Pepe just go, oh man, you can see it. Oh man, that ain't going to go in. You know what I mean? It's football's chess now. It's not a working man's. It's like, dude, right? When we got the ball. With this 4-4-3 or whatever, when they got the ball with 5-4-2, if they got the ball in their own half with 2-4, mate, you know, every person's got to be totally aware of where everyone else is and what system they're in an intelligent way that has never been before. You know, and it's kind of, if you ain't the right player for the mentality, then you're not going to work. If you're not the right player who's prepared to be in a team, because they make them do too many games, and to be the best you need a squad, and you can't have anybody who's why am I playing week in, week in, and that's kind of, they're only the first 11 is 22, and people, if they can accept that, you've got a winning formula, and that's the difference now. The kids who are 8 to 10 are already being brought into the system that's how it works. So they're not going to oppose it. You know, I mean, for me to see an identity, you know, last year, I never thought we was going to be where we were. It was about, you could see in brief moments, the 2 seasons before, that there was a style, there was a shape. When Emery was there was no shape, you know, and God forbid, you know, don't like dissing people, but I look at West Ham and this, what's your style? Mm-hmm. You know, look, Brighton, that's Brighton. It's not about nothing to do with money or anything anymore. Leicester, you know, it's about work ethic, team unity, and you can see that's why England do so well. Everyone likes each other. You know that Saka and Rice got on. You know that Grealish and someone from Liverpool got on, or, you know, there's none of that. They used to be on different tables, didn't they? Mm. You know, they've all grown up through the youth system, they all like each other. You know, you've got to have that in a team. If you look at Chelsea last year, 33 players, all backstabbing, no one wants to, you know, that ain't going to work. And I think the fact that the age of the team is just like, wow, if they all buy into it, what a future. Mm. You know, it is Barcelona, it's everything else, because even City ain't got that. You know, there's not another team that's got like 4 or 5 Haaland boys that are growing up together. You know, Smith Rowe and Reece Nelson and Nketiah and Saka, they must know 10% of what each other's going to do You know what I'm saying? Compared to Trossard or, so Odegaard, the boy's a magician. Mm-hmm. It's hard to think of anyone who can do in a tight space like he does. You know what I mean? He don't panic, does he?
Yeah, it is. No, it's just a joy to watch. I mean, I am a Liverpool fan, but I'm also a football fan as well.
Yeah, that comes first, man.
So just watching Arsenal last season, and obviously I didn't want City to win the league again. I don't want to get it to be like a farmers league where it's just City. I mean, we took them toe to toe. The last 4 or 5 seasons before that. Came so close, lost out by a point twice. Beat them and then lost.
Margins, man.
Yeah, it is, and I felt for Arsenal fans. Like the last 10 matches, it just seemed it was too much for the team.
Yeah, I didn't. You know what? I weren't gutted at all because I was like, man, we're competing. If you said this to me at the start of the season, I'd have been mad. But there's future. There's now there's like, man, if you look at Edu said at the end of last season, the phone was ringing. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've got a so-and-so who wants to play for you. And that's the difference now, man. Declan Rice, dude. He chose that project. Not, and you read the things, it's like, man, I've been here 3 weeks, so I thought I knew about football. But the detail Arteta goes into, and that's what you want to hear. You want people to be buying into something. Knocking on your door, I want to play for you, not them. And that's what people are doing now. And that's because what they saw last season, the mentality, the style of play. Just the ethics are right, And to have someone like Arteta, you can tell he's like that Guardiola madness for it. But yeah, it's exciting, man, because he's played for us. When they were who should they assign, and they got Emery, but they were talking about Arteta then. And I was thinking, no, let him stay with Guardiola for a while, But,
well, I mean, we do live in a world, especially football as well, though, that managers aren't given that much time. It's like you've got to win or you're out the door. I mean, all you have to do is look down the street, Chelsea. Even they've won trophies and they're still out the door. That's not how it should be. I'm still amazed at Klopp. I think right now he's in his 8th season, so he's the most coached in the Premier League, which is madness to really think about that. I mean, you have to look back to like Fergie days and Wenger days to where they've been given this opportunity. And I noticed like the first couple of seasons with Arteta, I've got Arsenal mates that would go in, get rid of him. He's not going to get us back to where we're supposed to be. And he proved the point last season.
I could see it. I could see moments where I was like, yeah, man. I mean, we won the FA Cup, the Charity Shield. There was moments, but it was also that thing of knowing they're not his players. Like I say, Pepe, he wouldn't make my team. He's a very skillful player and everything. But like I said to you, even when I train, I have to have 100%. And if he was playing with me, I'd be losing it with him for not trying hard enough. I can't stand that. And, Birmingham got like that. Abu, when he got all the politics started and coming late and all that. He was an amazing player. But the way Arteta handled that, I think it was amazing. I think them Yanks have gone like, man, we need to buy into this fella because, he's not interested in compromise. I reckon he sat down and said, look, if you want me to manage, this is how it's going to be. This is my plan. He's got a direction, a plan. Do you know what I mean? He's got a vision for where that club should be and how the football should be. And man, look at Trossard, master stroke, Odegaard, Zinchenko, Jesus. And, I'm still sitting here saying, man, Jesus ain't going to win us a league. He ain't going to win us a league. But he's the best pressing forward in the world. And you've got Martinelli and Saka and Odegaard banging them in. So, how can you feel about it? It's modern football. He's a modern footballer. I don't feel, never at City, I've never thought he's been a natural goal scorer. It's not right. Or he'll get his 10 to 15 goals, I think, every year. But he's not going to get your Harry Kane numbers, or Salah numbers, you know what I mean? Saka, we're going to spread it out. That's fair enough. It's fair enough. But it's so hard to want to lose him, Jesus, because his hold-up player is brilliant. It's so good. But is he going to win you get the goals that win the league? I don't think so. He didn't do it at Man City, did he? He didn't bang them in all there. And he was with that team, De Bruyne and everything as well. So, yeah, I just think I like Arteta's mentality. I think you make it a squad game, and Ketia is a poacher. He'll get you a few goals, and he can sculpt him to be what he wants to be. With these young kids, he's got the talents there. Now you can say, right, if you've got the intelligence to make these moves and do this, what you've got already, I'm just going to add to. With like I say, with Pepe, I don't think he can really understand. I don't think he's intelligent enough to understand what's needed, and I don't think he's got the right attitude. And that's the environment and the background that he brought up in. Not everyone is going to have the same energy and drive, are they? But will they win the league this year? The only thing I can say on that is it depends on the City, really. I think we're the same as last year. We're definitely capable of it. But they got Haaland. I mean, that's what I'm saying. The guy don't touch the ball. You don't touch the ball whole game. You put it in the box and it's in. You only need. That's what strikers the best do, isn't it? So without De Bruyne for a good few months, it's a tricky one. I think if they get that Paquetá from West Ham, they'll be doing well.
Yeah, that's the thing. They just recruit really well. Alvarez, I rate as well. If Haaland goes out, for a number of games, you've got Alvarez to come in. That's the thing with City. That a lot of other teams don't have. I mean, our team, we seem to be missing at least one or two more players for the
midfield. I mean, let's face it. I think if Darwin gets some stabilisers, he'll be amazing eventually. He just needs a bit of time to bed in. He's too rushed all the time with his pace. You see it a lot with fast players, man. They fumble the last bits because it's not quite. You can't appreciate how fast they're moving sometimes. Do you know what I mean? It's got to be perfection at that kind of that running onto a goalkeeper. It's quite easy to put it past the post if it ain't perfect, And I think his time will come. I think the best player at the moment, obviously Salah, but is Jota. That dude is the most underrated. One of the most underrated in the Premiership. He's so clever. He arrives. He works hard. I think Luis Diaz, another one who's got the work rate that Klopp demands. Really, I think the front. I don't think you got anything wrong up front. I think in your midfield, McAllister brilliant buy. I still think you need that. I don't know, a couple more in there, I'd say, for sure. I think Thiago's too old.
Thiago's been, when he's fit, that's the thing. When he's fit, he's incredible. He's one of the best passers of the ball. But if he can't stay fit for 20 games a season, then, we just need to move him on. I mean, to me, our problem at the moment is defensive mid. We brought Endo in, the Japanese lad. we'll see if that works out. The problem is we're playing McAllister as a 6, and he's not a 6. He's more creative. And the Sloboslai, absolutely cracking footballer. But again, bringing Trent into midfield, we need a proper right back. If that's because right now what's happening is the double pivot with Trent also kind of playing the 6 is not working. It leaves us way too exposed on that right side. It showed last season, and it's showing the first couple of matches. Thank God, a draw away to Chelsea is, I think, fair for the first match of the season. We beat Bournemouth. We started out really poorly, but came into the game. I think we just still need that proper DM. I love the young lad, Bajcetic, but again, he's a young lad. It's just, yeah. Well, that's another one, people band about, but I just, he's 27 now. His injury record is not good. I like the lad from Palace, Decore.
He was at Watford, that's what
maybe. But again, just the prices are just insane.
That's Chelsea's fault. Got a 58-year contract.
Yeah, again, I think every football team would probably have kind of done that if they'd known the loophole that Chelsea were doing. But, that's getting shut down the end of this season, and then you're going to have a bunch of players on 9-year contracts. So none of them, Lavia he wasn't even on the bench. He's going, well, I went to Chelsea for history and all this bollocks. I'm like, nah, you went for money. You went for money, mate. I wish some of these players would be honest and go, I went there for money. And that's it. I've got to take care of my family. All right. Well, good for you. But yeah, I can't stand them.
They just destroyed so many English people, man. I'm sorry, but that's my biggest thing I hate about Chelsea. Loftus-Cheek, all right, it's gone now.
Mm-hmm.
But, Gallagher, Billy, who's the one that has gone to Brighton now? The Scottish lad, little guy. Well, they used to farm it. When they got Joe Cole back in the day, like, yeah, we saw you from West Ham, now we're going to send you on loan to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go to Russia. What I mean? But, Hudson Obi or whatever is that? Where the hell's he gone?
Yeah, exactly. They've all dropped off the face of the earth, and so many. It's just these loopholes, and then all these players out on loan, and then just now Bowley's kind of in bed with the Saudis, so there was I can get rid of some of these players for a lot of money and to the Saudi league. It's all intertwined. There's all a lot of backhanders going on. I can't stand it. But I wanted to ask you, what's one of your favourite Liverpool Arsenal classic matches? Please don't tell me that when you won the league at Anfield.
What, the Michael Thomas one?
Yeah.
That was a good one, but no, got to put your hands up and say that Arshavin's entrance was pretty good when he banged flooring.
Yeah.
That was pretty impressive. And then I just think, oh man, anything with Bergkamp and Henry, even watching him roast Carragher, it's the same thing as the Van Dijk thing. You must have seen Henry step onto the pitch as a player. Just, man, I hope he don't come over my side of the pitch. Like Salah, you cannot control greatness. Zola, Klinsmann, Berbatov, to be fair, Harry Kane, you can't control greatness. Drogba, we've been privileged to sort of just watch these people and just think, yeah, man, I'd do that. Henri is just like, when you see him skip past people, like, the speed he had was just, you can't fathom it, really, you know. But yeah, the last show in 4 was pretty impressive, really.
Yeah, I mean,
not so much.
Just what, and it's just crazy to think about that lad as well, because I mean, he was so talented and then just dropped off the face of the earth. But I loved it how when he scored number 4, he just shook his head and was just going like, "I've just scored 4 at Anfield." Yeah. I mean, we've always had classic matches, us and Arsenal. It's what I look for, you know, when the fixture list comes out, just because I'm like, you know, there's going to be goals, you know, there's going to be some like, you know, I mean, especially Arteta and Klopp, they're so like into their football that they let their emotions take over, because, you know, when you came to ours, it was pretty much a dull match, and then Arteta got all pissed off, and then that riled up the Anfield crowd, and then that and then Liverpool turned it around. So it's again the little things, but yeah, I love Arteta's passion. I love Klopp's passion. You know, I think Arteta's in this business for a long time to come, and you know, I always say if Liverpool can't win the league, then you know, let Arsenal do it, because they play really good attractive football, and that's what I like. But I want to get your predictions for top 4, and then last but not least, your dream festival lineup for Friday, Saturday, Sunday headliners, alive or dead.
So I'd say, well, I've got to go for it. I've got to say Arsenal, City. It's a tricky one. Arsenal, City. You should ask me this in 2 more weeks. Depends on who they sign. Because I think Chelsea will get it together too late to do anything. But I think Newcastle are only building on what they've already done, which was pretty amazing considering the players they got. You know, he's just got a wicked ethic and belief and camaraderie again. You know, if they hold that, then I think Newcastle will probably be 3rd. And I think if Liverpool get the midfield, I think they'll be in the top 4. But if they don't, I think it could be a bit of a sticky one. And the thing is, I mean, I think Man U, last season, I would have said Man U towards the end. But that's gone. All of a sudden, that's gone again. So I'd say Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Liverpool. That's my prediction. I think, Liverpool depends on if they get a few more players in. Because it's a bit scary this year. That McAllister red card and these cards and kicking all is a bit light, isn't it? It's too light for me, man. It's like it's going to ruin so many games if they're not careful. You know, because common sense states frustration is to knock that ball away, to get back in position. It's not always to be out of order. It's just a reaction to give yourself, a couple of meters to give yourself get back inside or back in position. And you're going to get people going, yellow card for that. Mm-hmm. Oh, come on. And then he's going to do a little professional foul, which you borderline, and then they're going to be off, you know. I do think Arteta was pretty the cause of it, being out of order in the technical area. Like, just forget, he just ignores it, really. I think because of him, that all been brought in. Yeah, that's the thing I'm a little bit worried about this season, to be honest. I think it's going to take halfway through the season before they start changing it again, because I think the McAllister thing was embarrassing.
Mm-hmm.
you know, it wasn't even like he had a straight leg or he followed through. He went for the challenge, but his whole body weight was on his coming away from the player. He was just like that, you know what I mean? Who played? Who did I watch yesterday?
Well, they did the same at Newcastle. What's his name? Got what his name. He did the same thing. He got nothing. Then there was the Fernandez one on the United match.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Just the yellow. Yeah, it's just getting ridiculous because there should be one rule and one rule only. And you know, we're supposed to be the best run league in the world, and our referees are absolutely atrocious. They can't get together. VAR is just, what's the point of having it? Just what's the point? The
thing that does me with that one is when they're like, you know, it's a blatant offside, and then the ball goes through and the keeper and the striker on a 50-50 or something. It's like someone's going to get a leg broken or something before they say, oh, right, well, we should have stopped it because we knew he was offside. That is, well, it's just pathetic.
Yeah.
And then you have to wait to see if it was a goal. Nightmare, man.
It takes the passion out, doesn't it?
Yeah,
people don't know whether to, you know, jump up or you've got to look up at the, you know, the jumbotron to wait for the decision, and then, you know, what shouldn't take so long takes too long, and then you're just like, after they say a goal, you're like, yay! It's taken the enjoyment out, and that's one thing that's football's just getting ruined with that. You know, I just think it will go back to just a referee's decision. You know, they're human, they make mistakes. The
only one I think is right is goal line technology. You know, I think that's necessary because, again, even the liner's got to look past the post. You know what I mean? There's an obstruction. So that one I think's all right, but it's a physical game, man, and adrenaline and pump and that, and we know what's out of order. You know, when someone just like impulse just rolls the ball away or something. You know what I mean? You can't be giving out yellow cards for that.
Yeah, it's tough.
That could ruin it for me this year. So even West Ham yesterday, I was watching them against Chelsea. And it's like, mate, he's only got a sneeze and he's off. You know, and they were for some really stupid stuff. You know, so let's hope that doesn't ruin it for the first few months. Headline lineup, Festival Friday. This would have. It's a tricky one. Some I'd say Bob Marley. I think the bands are like that. I didn't see. Let's say people back on the Friday. Probably Queen Saturday. Seen all the others. I've seen Foo Fighters, you know, Bowie, I play with them and stuff. The Beatles you've got to put in there, but I get annoyed with people screaming behind them. The girls. I went to see Prince in concert with mates, and there's these two girls in Wembley Arena stood behind me, just screamed and shook tambourines for the whole. Well, for about 10 minutes until I told him, fucking shut up or I'll throw him off the balcony. I didn't really. I told him to shut up. I didn't threaten to throw him off the balcony. So I didn't pay to listen to you scream and shake a tambourine in the air for like 30 quid for 2 hours. So Fleetwood Mac, Queen, Bob Marley, I'll go with.
Nice. Well, Liam, God bless. I could have called you Keith, Maxim. No, Leeroy. Yeah, it's so in. Like I'm still like. I feel like I'm a teenager though, just because, you know, interviewing yourself, who's been part of my generation, you know, growing up, is just like it just amazes me how many people I've met, you know, through doing this, and you know, gain friendships, because we all have the same thing. We love the football, we love the music. But anything coming out for you? I know you have a upcoming release soon, right?
Yeah, I've done. I would have had 8 tracks out this year so far. I've been doing a lot of stuff with some Spanish breakbeat producers. For me, they write the best breakbeat music at the moment. The Spanish. It's a bit of a weird thing when you go there. If you don't play kind of exactly what they're into, you have to think about it. You feel a bit awkward, but for the stuff they're producing, it's the best stuff. It's the only stuff I really buy anymore, really. So I've done a couple of tracks with a guy called Rasco and a guy called Hancock. I've got 2, so I've got 2 of mine coming out 1st of September, possibly 3. And I've got another one with Rasco September, and then one in Hancock in October. So yeah, it'll be 8 releases for me this year. So again, like I was saying earlier, I won't put them on Spotify and this and that. So I am cutting my own throat to an extent of awareness, but you've got to have some morals in life, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I mean, for the listeners, you can go to Leeroy's Bandcamp, or you can get it straight from Leeroy Thornhill. Is it .co.uk? So just .com. Yeah. So you can buy straight from there. So, but Leeroy, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. I mean, it's already an hour 40 something. Time goes by so quickly when you're just having a good conversation, and I love it. But, I wish you all the best for your future. You've already given us a brilliant past. So, health and all that good stuff to you. Everybody, thanks for listening. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.